And welcome to Market Insights. I am Lovina Emah. It's a beautiful day and I am happy to be here. So today we will discuss a pressing issue that impacts every aspect of our lives as Nigerians, and that is our energy crisis. Now, Nigeria's energy crisis is somewhat of a paradox, don't you think so? Now, the reason I say it's a paradox is because our country is blessed with abundant natural resources, yet we are still grappling with severe power shortages. Now, Nigeria holds Africa's largest gas reserves and is ranked 8th globally for its gas reserves. And the country, in addition to this, also faces an ironic dilemma. That is, that despite its vast energy reserves, millions of people in this country live without access to electricity, and this has hindered economic growth and development. Now imagine trying to run a business, a school, your household, even a media organization. Now without reliable electricity, this is going to be a daily struggle, and this is what millions of Nigerians face every day. Now the impact is far-reaching, affecting everything from economic growth, healthcare, education. So what is causing this energy paradox? Now, is it a lack of resources or is it a matter of mismanagement? So this morning, we will explore these questions and more with our expert guest. And he's going to share his insights into the challenges we face and the potential solutions that could transform Nigeria's energy landscape. So join us after the break as we unravel the complexities of this issue and discuss how we can harness our potential to build a brighter future for our nation. Thank you for watching the program. Now, to discuss these issues affecting our energy sector in terms of our huge gas reserves, we have an expert, an oil and gas expert, who has joined us virtually this morning, and his name is Mascot Ogunjemiyo. He's an oil and gas expert and also a stockbroker. So he has joined us virtually this morning on Market Insights. Have you on the program this morning, Mascot Ogunjemiyo? Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning to you also. I'm glad to have you on the program. Now, I talked about our huge gas reserves, what we have in Nigeria, and we have an estimated 209 trillion standard cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves. And Nigeria also holds Africa's largest gas reserves and is ranked 8th globally, but the country is still facing frequent power outages, feedstock shortages, high electricity costs, and this has been stalling our economic growth, and it's frustrating millions of Nigerians, which is such a big paradox. Now, what do you think has been the cause of this issue for so long?
Well, looking at the hindsight, initially, the gas was made for export, the gas reserve, and also looking at when oil was initially, the initial reason why the IOC came to Nigeria, the International Oil and Gas Company came to Nigeria initially was to explore for oil, not to explore for gas. So all the contracts that were signed at that time were based on oil. So gas was like a waste product, at that time. So it was just flat. So there was no deliberate effort or any policy to monetize this gas. So to change the paradigm, it's now become a little bit difficult going back and say, okay, you now have to invest in gas. When the issue of, okay, let's now look at gas. Gas is a resource, it's valuable all over the world, and it's especially for electricity and for housewarming, gas is a resource. At that time, the issue was also, where's the market for this gas? That if I produce the gas, where do I market it? Where does it go? That there's no local demand for gas at that time. And at that time, too, the main source of our electricity was hydroelectric power. So there was no any effort to deliver gas to the domestic industry. So before the issue of they now come with NLNG, that's the liquefied natural gas program, the project, which is now one of the most successful investment the country ever had. So the NLNG was initiated, and gas for that project was basically for export. So in the industry, when you talk about gas line, you will be saying export line. So there was no any plan to use this gas locally. So everything was based on export. So there are no pipeline locally to supply the local industry. There are no deliberate cluster of industry where this gas will go. And since in this part of the world, we don't need to warm our houses, so there's no need for gas to warm the houses. So everybody is fine. So the gas there was no initial use for gas. So the infrastructure is not there. So we didn't build any infrastructure. So the gas were stranded. They've been fled. So that's the major reason why there is no investment in gas in the initial stage. So, but when the population start growing, the needs start growing for gas. So now to revert it, so you now have to bring up other policies, incentive for the IOCs to now start considering gas. So there were some obligation, but the issue also was there is that where is the market? So how much will the domestic be able to take out of this gas? Because gas require huge investment. So they now start doing it a kind of integrated project where there is oil and gas. So they do integrated oil and gas project. Now try to build a gas plant. So hadn't been so the gas that were developed initially were actually developed because of the oil there. So it's not that there were any deliberate effort to develop the gas on itself because they didn't see the economics as right at that time. That's basically what happened in the past.
Okay, yes. Thank you for taking us through this and from where we started when we discovered oil and also to our discovery of gas and the fact that, yes, it was a resource that we didn't really tap into its potential. But looking at what we have right now in the country, we do have more investments in our gas industry right now. There are more infrastructures now, even though it still needs to be, we still need to tap into the gas reserves in Nigeria. Now, over the years, there have been attempts to unlock these gas reserves, but it's not really had any effect so far. Now, some critics are of the opinion that has been an absence of political will to deal with this. Do you agree with this? What are your thoughts?
Well, I won't say there have been political will. I would say government have also made a lot of effort because what I'm privy to in the past were situation where there were enablers. So there were enablers that NNPC came up with, which was ratified by the federal government for companies to invest in gas. So they have incentive to do that. So those incentives were a kind of political will, because if they don't want to encourage such investment, they won't give those incentives. So the thing is that the economic was also not completely right, because somebody that his main focus, his main reason for coming to the industry is to exploit oil. So you are now telling him to redirect his attention, to re-strategize, to invest in gas. So, and the pipeline is a major issue, especially on land. So the pipeline are not there. So who is going to build this pipeline? Is government ready to build it? It's require a lot of funding to build the pipeline. And this pipeline, if you build this pipeline, so where's the market for the gas? Market was a real thing until recently. So, and since gas cannot be stored, gas is cannot be stored like oil. So you cannot, you either take it or pay for it. If you produce it, if you are producing gas for a power plant and the power plant is not is shut down at that moment, so that means you cannot, there's no way you can store that gas for the power plant. That means you have to stop production completely. So it's a kind of a very serious matter. So when you write gas contract, you usually write a take or pay contract. So the guy take it or he pay for it. If he does, if he doesn't take it, he will still have to pay for it when he doesn't take it. So it's a very complex contract. Unlike oil that you could store in it, you could put in storage, or you can take it elsewhere. So if elsewhere you don't have pipeline going to that place, so there's no way you can utilize that gas. So this has been a lot of issues. So it's not just government policy. Government not having political will. It's because of the complexity of gas, of utilization of gas in it as a resource.
But still on this, Mr. Ogunjemiyo, yes, I'm still on this factor. Do you think maybe the government really did not understand the potentials of this resource, so they just decided to keep it aside for some time? Because if you look at the way the world is right now in the 21st century, we do have more people using gas for many things. So we still can't be thinking the way we're thinking back in the 20th century. A lot of things have changed. So do you think we need to partner with more professionals in the gas industry so that we can tap into our gas potentials in Nigeria?
Yes, we need to have more deliberate effort. We try to partner with, with the right people, with the professionals. Funding is a major issue, is a long-term business. It's not a short-term business. On the local fronts, like if you say gas to power, gas to industry, then gas for house, the one you use for household and other things. So the gas to power, yes, we are using that very well. That's where we are utilizing gas very well now. We have a lot of power plants now very active in the country. So gas to industry, we are still not there yet because we don't have those industry clusters where this gas we filled. So, and that's why when you come up with a gas project, then you will now be looking at, okay, where is this gas? Where's the market for this gas? So you might have an industrial park. So maybe these are some of the things the government needs to work on how to have an industrial park. I think they're already working on some of them. Some of them are already in the offing. So these industrial parks and also gas for exports. Although we are good at that, we have the NLNG, we have been very successful. And I think they are also talking about brass LNG. The gas offshore, they are also talking of, I think recently they signed a floating NLNG, a floating LNG project, yeah, with a company recently. So that's also coming on board. So now that they're saying it's a decade of gas, I believe they are making more concerted effort to ensure that the gas is harnessed. But in this part of the world, we may not be able to harness it like the Western world, whereby the gas is more useful and they have what's it called? What will I say? They have purchasing power in that regard. So government still needs to do a lot in a way to ensure that this gas is monetized, else it will remain stranded there.
Okay, yes, okay, yeah. Thank you for that, Mr. Ogunjemiyo. Yes. Okay, as you know, in our country, according to the International Gas Union report, we are currently the eighth position in terms of liquefied natural gas exporters globally. And we've been having, in addition, Nigeria has been having lingering issues of gas flaring. And we know that we can actually use this gas to power our households in this country now, but that hasn't been the case now. So what do you make of all these various pipeline projects that are currently on board right now? Because with all this gas flaring, it doesn't seem these projects have not been helping so far. So what do you make of this?
Yeah, on the flaring side, what government has done recently is to lease out those flare sites to companies that can utilize this gas. So, and some of these companies are already coming up with technologies that can utilize this gas, that can reduce this flare or eliminate the flare completely. So the flare site have been licensed to some companies. I think that's in the gas monetization program of the Ministry of Petroleum. I think it's now anchored by NUPRC also, the program. So on that side, so we will see less flare in the near future. We see less flare, if not totally eliminated. And also NUPRC with the former DPR has now put on what will I say, steep penalty. So the penalty for flaring is much higher. So you will rather not flare. So you find a way of eliminating the flare. And for the IOC, the international company, because of the emission strategy they are trying to work on globally. So it's also helping the system to reduce flare as well. For the pipeline, yes, the pipeline is a major issue, which is the main infrastructure. There is a gas master plan, and there are some pipelines that needed to be constructed, like the AKK pipeline is a major one. We think the last time we heard about it, I think they will complete it by next year or thereabout. So that's a major pipeline, and that will help to utilize a lot of the gas. And the OBOB pipeline, which is the OB3 pipeline, is also a major one that is, I understand, will also be commissioned very soon. And those will help also to harness the gas for domestic use. So the infrastructure is
Okay, yes,
coming up,
I also
but
want
it's
to add, yes, can you hear me, Mr. Ogunjemiyo?
yes, I can hear you.
So, like we have recently launched in 2021. This was launched in 2021, the Decade of Gas Initiative. Now, its aim is to make natural gas the backbone of Nigeria's energy sector. Now, it's just one of the few initiatives that was supposed to expand our gas to power projects. But these measures have been slow to materialize, if you have noticed. And yes, there have been infrastructural gaps and regulatory bottlenecks. But how do we get past all these to ensure that these actually materialize and that we're actually using gas to power our country here in Nigeria?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get your question. So, okay.
In 2021, we had the gas to power initiative. We're supposed to launch this process of using gas to power our energy sector here in Nigeria. But we've been having a lot of issues in terms of infrastructural gaps and regulatory bottlenecks. They've been hampering this progress. Now, how do we move past all this to ensure that this actually materializes in this country?
Yeah, in terms of regulation, they are not doing badly on regulation. The regulation is the regulatory environment is for me is friendly for investment in gas, but the main issue there is because the their component of the investment, the upstream part. Okay, who produced this gas? You have to drill the well. Then who take this gas? So you have to take it through the pipeline. So you produce the gas, you transport it. Transporting it is a challenge. It's unlike the oil that you can produce, so you get it to the terminal and vessels load them and move them away. But gas, you require a lot of infrastructure. You have to compress it, or you have to move it through pipeline. So this require one time to build the pipeline, require time to build the processing plant, require time. So all these require a very long lead time. So at the end of the day, things are going on. You will be wondering what they are doing, but a lot of things will be going on that because it has not materialized, and sometimes funding is an issue. Funding, and also before you start gas project, before you even start the gas project, you must they want to know who is the buyer. So it's before you produce the gas, you want to know who is the buyer. So like you must have a purchase agreement before you even go into the project. Because if you don't do that, then you build that infrastructure, you can't produce the gas at the end of the day. So market is still, whether we like it or not, market is still a major issue in the country. So is the market ready to take the gas? So the power plant, how many are they? Yeah, the power plant, are we ready to build more of the power plant? So how long does it take to build power plant? So a lot of these things will take a long time, 5 years, 7 years, even 10 years. So before they materialize.
Well, that's a very long time because, as you know, in this country, power is what we need for basically everything. Whether you're at home, whether you're running a business, you need power efficiently to be able to carry out all this. So, do you think the government needs to invest more into our gas sector, or we need more foreign investment in this industry?
Well, we need more investment, whether foreign or local, although since government don't have the resources to invest, it's foreign investment that we rely on a lot. So, and we don't just uh, get this. We should also look at building. What I mean, you look at building the power plants close to the source. So to evacuate it to other places, build the power plant to supply this gas to produce this gas into this pipeline to supply the plant. So if we can have power plant close to the source of the gas, so but it also have the challenge of how to evacuate the power at the end of the day. So you will have these challenges here and there. So I think the pipeline is very, very important. They should just build pipeline and to take this gas from the source to the market.
Some experts have stated that the gas industry it lacks transparent regulation and effective. It doesn't have a very effective gas distribution management. Now, what are your thoughts on these issues affecting the gas industry in Nigeria? Hear me, Mr.
Yeah,
Ogunjemiyo.
yeah. You were asking me the
In
issues
the oil
with
and gas industry have cited issues like lack of transparent regulation, ineffective gas distribution management as major issues affecting Nigeria's gas industry. So, what are your thoughts on this?
okay on the transparency in the policy. Well,
Distribution
I wouldn't.
management.
Yeah, and distribution management. Well, I wouldn't say the policy is not transparent. The system has this issue. The policies are there, they are clear, and the enablers are known to all. I think even there was a time that and people, especially in policies that time, or when there are incentive, people look at the loopholes, they utilize the loophole in the system, they utilize it. I remember when the incentive, when you import anything, government even create an incentive to the extent that when you import anything that support the harnessing of gas or the utilization of gas or monetization of gas, maybe a compressor or whatever, or of those kind. So there were waiver like tax waiver, you have a tariff waiver on them. So, and to my knowledge, people were capitalizing on this loophole. So whatever they use the opportunity to import things that are not even directly going to be used to harness the gas. So they import it because maybe they look like it, they have similar function. So, and get this waiver. So, and they push, Nigerians are human and they are funny human beings. So they find their way into the system and they get this waiver because of the incentive because of the monetary advantage it provides. So these are the policies are there, they are good, they are clear, but people capitalize on it and take advantage of it. A lot of companies take advantage of those policies and make money from it. Not necessarily that the people in the system are that corrupt, but people take advantage of the system. People take advantage of their knowledge, limited knowledge as well, when some of these policies are in place. So I would say that has not, those are some of the fallback of some of the policies. And these were put in place actually to utilize for domestic utilization, monetization of gas. So I don't want to go into detail of this. Then you talk about the distribution as well. Is it can you come back with that again?
I talked about the distribution management, that we don't really have an effective gas distribution management in the country. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with that. There's no effective distribution management, but government has tried to also improve on that. That's why we have this gas aggregation company, which is like a wholesale a wholesale or a distributor of the gas, like somebody that's standing between the buyer and the seller of the gas, so to create some liquidity in the market. But this also have not worked very well, because sometimes you have the buyers, not the power plant too. They don't pay. Sorry, the electricity distribution company. Let's come to electricity distribution company now. They will be owing the power plant. Yeah, the power plant will be owing the upstream guy, the gas producer, and you find out there's a lot of gap in the liquidity management. So these have not worked well. The distribution of the gas, and there are no enough clusters to harness this gas. So that still needs to be worked on. Industry clusters, then maybe floating LNG will help, that such that when there is the pipeline have some issues, they can take gas through the floating LNG. They can take spot gas the way it happened all over the world. So they can also look at that. But right now we don't have any floating LNG. If you look at Dangote, if Dangote does not get its crude here in Nigeria, he gets it abroad. So, but if you don't, for our power plant now, if the pipeline cannot supply them power, then what can they do? They have to shut down. They have to shut down the power plant if they can't get gas. So there should be alternative supply of the gas, so in the system, so that when there is outage somewhere, then you can get supply from the other sources. So those are some of the things that needs to be looked at.
Yes. Can you hear me, Mr. Ogunjemiyo?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, I understand what you are saying, but we've been hearing of the national grid collapsing every now and then. So one would expect that this is the best time to put in more focus into the gas industry and really tap into its potentials. As you know, natural gas is the major source of electricity production in Nigeria. I mean, last year we had about 79.5% of the country's electricity generation from gas. But you know that in Nigeria, over 85 million Nigerians lack access to electricity, and the federal government has also mobilized about $4.5 million for an on-grid and off-grid power supply in the country. Now, what do you think the challenges are with regards to tapping into using gas for electricity, as with how abundant gas is in Nigeria? What do you think the challenges are, and how do we solve it?
Yeah, the challenges with using gas for electricity is still the outage that we may have. But right now, I think if we look at our generation, I think the last time I heard about it, we're generating about 13,000 megawatt of 13,000 megawatt. Yes, I don't know if you have the correct figure there. The last time I heard about it, this is reasonable, but we have so much losses in transmission. I think where the investment needs to go now, especially in the area of power generation, is transmission and distribution, because there are a lot of wastages there. So if we can manage what we produce now very well, I'm sure the power problem of the country will be, to a reasonable extent, resolved. So, and if we continue to build the power plant, to add more to the power plant as well. So where we're having losses, more losses, is in generation and transmission. Sorry, is in distribution and transmission. So the distribution channels are not efficient enough. So we have a lot of losses there, and the transmission are not efficient enough. So a lot of the losses we've had, the grid collapse, I'm not an expert in that area, were not actually, a lot of them were not actually due to the outage of the power plant. I think it's more of related to managing of the loads in the transmission system. So they are not necessarily related to power outages from the power plant. So the government still need to do a lot of work on it. I think where they now need to focus much effort on is the transmission and distribution aspect of our electricity.
Transmission and distribution aspects of our electricity. And you also mentioned that the government needs more funding to be able to carry out this effective, to ensure that there's an effective distribution system in the gas industry. Okay, but I want us to discuss the CNG, compressed natural gas in Nigeria. Now, recently we have deployed CNG as an option because it is cleaner and it's a more sustainable alternative to petrol and diesel. And it is also being presented as a solution to ease the pressure in Nigeria's transportation sector. However, some experts have argued that the efforts to implement widespread use of CNG is not very adequate. And although there are infrastructures, I have seen some CNG stations here in Lagos and in other states in Nigeria. It still remains very slow, the spread of CNG stations in Nigeria. So now, how do we execute this properly in terms of the use of CNG in our transportation sector, so that Nigerians can be better off and they don't have to keep relying on petrol?
Yeah, CNG is a laudable project. It's a laudable technology. It works, but for it to have full penetration, it's going to take a long time. And the initial investment that is also required yet, because the CNG, the availability of the CNG is also one. Then to create the stations to convert, I think I think the biggest challenge would be in the conversion of the vehicles to CNG. So that will take a long time, and a lot of people have that concern that will it going to work? Is it going to destroy my vehicle? Is it going to spoil my car? Or do I just take? Why should I do CNG? So, or so it's going to take a lot of challenge even for people to really buy into the CNG project. I'm sure you have not converted your car, even if you have the opportunity to convert. I don't know if you will voluntarily do that, if there is no a kind of guarantee, or if you don't have another car to use. So this is for me. It's just a supplementary thing. It's not going to go that far. It's just going to be a supplementary technology. The main technology in the industry for vehicular movement transportation will still be either electric vehicle or the gasoline type that we're seeing now. That's the way I see the technology. I have my concern about CNG.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Mascot Ogunjemiyo, for joining us this morning on the program Market Insights as we discuss Nigeria's energy paradox with our abundant gas reserves and how we are still finding a lot of challenges in terms of electricity and using these gas reserves to power a lot of things in our country. Thank you for also sharing solutions to these issues affecting our gas sector. Many thanks for joining us on the program, and we do hope you can join us again on Market Insights.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Now let's look at the money markets this morning. How the naira is faring, selling against the dollars, pound sterling, and the euro. So for today, Thursday, 3rd October, we're looking at the Central Bank of Nigeria rates and the parallel markets rates. So at the CBN rates, the dollar is currently selling at 1,560 naira to $1. At the parallel market rate, it is selling at 1,671 naira to $1. For the pound sterling, at the CBN rate, it is selling at 2,084 naira to £1 sterling. At the parallel market, it is selling at 2,191 naira to £1 sterling. And for the euro, it is selling at 1,927 naira to €1. At the parallel market, it is selling at 1,844 naira to €1. So those are our money market figures. Yes, at the parallel markets for the euro, the CBN rate is higher than the parallel market rate. So the same thing applies too for the other currencies. So for the dollars, the parallel market figure is higher than the CBN rate. And for the pound sterling, the parallel market figure is also higher than the CBN rate. It's only the euro that the CBN rate is higher than the parallel market rate. So those are our money market figures this morning. Thank you so much for watching the program Market Insights as my guest and I discuss challenges affecting Nigeria's gas industry and ways to solve these challenges and how we can also tap into reducing gas flaring in the country and how we can actually use this gas to power our homes and power our businesses. As you know, gas flaring, the electricity generated from this is over 3,401 megawatts, and that can be used for a lot of homes across this country. Thank you so much for watching this program, and do share your comments on all our social media platforms. I am your host, Lovina Emah. Do stay tuned to the news updates on Souq News Television.